te voy a ver es bueno, darle el alto, gente de Perú, darle el alto. No quiero madre, no quiero que les alto, yo no la alcanzo, gente de Perú, no quiero madre, no quiero. Hija mía, te voy dar al chico, por favor, te rogo, tomar bachico. No quiero madre, no quiero que les bajo, ella me va zarastran bajo. No quiero madre, no quiero. Antes que te cases, mira lo te haces, dar al tinioso. No quiero madre, no quiero que en el tinioso dale camino, no hay reposo. No quiero madre, no quiero. Hija mía, te voy dar al borracho, no entiendo las babajadas, dar al borracho. Quiero madre, ya quiero con el borracho. Yo abrazo, axibashi, ya quiero madre, ya quiero. Yo abrazo, axibashi, ya quiero madre, ya quiero. Ya quiero madre, ya quiero. Ya quiero madre, ya quiero.
Hello. Our guest is Nani Noam Vazana. Nani is an acclaimed international singer, composer, pianist, and trombonist, and the enthusiast advocate to the revival of Ladino language. What is Ladino? My first question. And how does it work with jazz?
Ladino is the language of the Sephardic Jews, so the Jewish people who lived in Spain and Portugal in the Middle Ages before the Spanish expulsion. And when they were expelled from the Iberian Peninsula, they brought this language with them all over the world. The biggest community today is in Turkey, which survived through the Ottoman Empire in the 1400s. And then you also have a big community in Israel and some small communities in the Balkan countries. How it works with jazz, that's a good question. I think everything is jazz, especially if you improvise. There is improvisation in your music. It already makes it jazz. I am a composer, and I love composing in the moment, and this is what jazz for me is all about. So for me, I see a very natural connection between jazz and Ladino. And some people also classify it as Latin jazz, but it's, I guess, beauty is in the eyes of the beholder, anyway.
Please tell us a few words about the beginnings of your musical journey.
I started playing piano when I was 5 years old. It took 2 years to convince my parents to get me a piano. Eventually they caved. because I really asked every day. I was so stubborn. I am not as stubborn anymore. And then when I was 12, there was a presentation at our school from an orchestra, like, you know, a wind orchestra, wind instruments. And they were talking about the trombone. And I thought it was such the coolest sound ever. And then I went to my father when I came back home. I said, I want to play this big trumpet. And then he said, no way, because it sounds like the dishwasher hose. And then again, it was like 2 years of convincing. Eventually, I struck a deal with the manager of the school that I will work half-time for them and they will pay half my tuition, so I could do it from my savings, because my parents did not allow me to study the instrument. And yeah, and from that point on, I just continued with the 2 instruments. And then afterwards, of course, I studied at some conservatories, music academy in Jerusalem, in Amsterdam, Tel Aviv. Yeah, and then I started writing songs. So that's what brought me here today.
I committed crimes for what I needed, crimes for being hungry and poor.
For you, Ladino, it was research from your roots. Can you elaborate on that?
My grandmother spoke Ladino, and my father didn't like it. He forbade us to speak Ladino when I was a kid. So I only got to speak Ladino with her in sort of hiding, like when we were alone, you know. And then she would sing when she would cook, which was very good, because then you learn things in a very natural way. It's not forced. And I think I learned how to be stubborn from my grandmother, because even though she didn't get her way, she wanted to teach me Ladino, she was still able to kind of put it in, you know, in a very graceful way. And if my father found out, she would just say, oh, I always sing when I cook, you know, I didn't notice. And that's like a very nice way to do it. You don't have to force your way, just have to be polite, and practice that in my life today. And then I was invited. So like I completely forgot about Ladino for like a really long time, and I just wrote my own jazz indie songs, and I was performing already. I released 2 albums, performing all over the world, and then I was invited to play at the jazz festival in Morocco. And there I thought, well, I never been to Morocco before. This is where my grandmother comes from. So I went to visit her hometown, Fez. And there on the street, I heard people singing a song that my grandmother used to sing to me when I was 4 years old. And that brought like this big flashback memory. And from this moment on, I became very curious about Ladino, and I wanted to know what it meant for me. So I started a very long research of 2 years. I studied Ladino with a scholar in Leiden, in it's a city in the Netherlands. And I released the first traditional album, because at the beginning I didn't know how to write yet, you know? So I was just singing covers at the beginning. And then 3 years later, it's like, okay, covers are not enough. I am a songwriter. I want to write songs. So I started writing my own songs. And that's why I now release an album of original Ladino songs. Yeah.
How difficult is to write songs in Ladino?
It's very difficult because I don't know the language well enough. If I compare it to my knowledge of Hebrew or English or Dutch, these are languages that I speak fluently. It's, you know, when you know a language so well, you come with an opinion. You're ready. You criticize things. You're already cynical about some stuff. You have a vocabulary that already incorporates this kind of behavior in your songwriting. Because my knowledge with Ladino is of a little girl, I write from a place of wonder. So in a way, it's the most creative writing I've ever done, because I feel like I'm writing with my inner child more than I am like expressing my opinions about the world, which is very good. It's a very nice, I don't know, an exercise in writing or something like that. And that's kind of how it started. And then I didn't know the grammatical structure very well. So what I did is I took existing texts like poems and ballads from the Middle Ages, and I modeled whatever I wanted to write on that grammatical structure. So I said, I want to say this thing. So I just found another sentence that has the structure that I wanted, and then I modeled the verbs and the adjectives around that. And then, of course, I sent the text for review because it's, I want to make sure that it's good, that it's written well. So it's a process. It's not as natural as writing in English, but it is also very thoughtful, and it's a teaching moment.
You manage your own career. Which are the benefits and the challenges of self-management?
I think the benefits outweigh the challenges, although there are a lot of challenges, because you have to do everything yourself. You have to be concentrated on many things at once. And also, like here we are on the tour I have 7 musicians in the van. I need to get their itinerary, to book the musicians. I need to get the accommodation sorted out, to get the actual gig in front of the venue. I handle the PR, the stage management, the backline. I basically do everything. But so then I have to like concentrate in many things at the same time. At the end, though, I have full artistic control on what I do. Nobody's telling me you should do this song or not do this song. So I am, as a composer, I'm free to choose whatever I want to do. I'm also more flexible than an agent, because let's say a festival approaches you and they have a very small fee. The chances that the agent will say yes to a gig like this is probably 0, because he will never even forward you the email. He was like, okay, this is leave it. They don't think in a creative way. And I think that barrier between artists and artistic director of festival is very dangerous, because you need to put the two creatives together. The agent is like a middleman, is only thinking about the money and the timing. And sometimes you have beautiful collaborations. Maybe you didn't earn a lot from that, but maybe it's a gateway to earn a lot later, not only money, but also culturally, perspective-wise. Maybe it will be a beginning of a new album. You don't know. And these collaborations are important. So you need to keep an open mind, not limit yourself too much, not think too much about the practical things, and then yet still be very practical as your own manager. That's why I think it's very important to do. Yeah.
I think you're the only artist with 2 shows at Jazz in the Park Festival. And today you will delight us with a show called Vazana Simone Bach.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about this show? It's a tribute?
It's a tribute to both Nina Simone and Johann Sebastian Bach. So I combined the compositions of the 2 composers, and a little bit in my own way, because I like, to swim against the stream. So I take Nina Simone's songs. She already had some Bach quotes, because she wanted to be a classical pianist originally, and she was forced to play jazz just to make money, because racism, they didn't let her play in concert halls, so she had to go to play in clubs.
Money from jazz?
Today, you mean, or back then? I mean, I think back then you could make less money than today. But yes, of course, this is my profession. This is how I make my living. But so Nina Simone went to play jazz in clubs because she was not allowed to play in classical venues because of racism. And that's how she combined Bach quotes in her work already. And then I thought this would be very interesting to expand on. So I took, I compared the pieces, and then I thought, in this piece we can put some the first invention, and in this piece we can do the arioso in G, and in this piece we could do the first prelude. So we have all these glances within the program, or even the cello suites that are coming in intertwined in and out of the songs. I think you should see it, because it's hard to describe. You cannot imagine something you never heard before. It's a bit of a unique project. Yeah.
How do you face all the new challenges in music? Is it important to be always one step ahead?
I think it's important to roll with the punches. Like whatever comes, you gotta handle. In generally in life, it's not only with music. You know, like if you will look at the last few years, the pandemic had changed the world to an extent that we couldn't imagine before. Like for instance, I was always into electronic collaboration. So I would say like, hey guys, we want to do this new project. We can do a lot online. Then we meet for a rehearsal and then we do the gig. But people didn't want to do it. They were like, no, 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 no. It has to happen when it's in person. We have to be 3 weeks together. It's not practical. I think being 3 weeks together is not practical because it's in a utopic world. Yes, I wish I could go on a residency every time I want to make a project, but the cost of accommodation and travel, and people have families and choices, so it's not always possible. But now, for the first time since the pandemic, people agree to do collaborations online. So in a way, there is a development in a good way, but also some things are difficult. Like for instance, festivals are getting smaller because big gap and people are afraid to leave the house and they have a lot of alternatives, so they have less budget, which means inviting less artists or that you have to cut your band in half. Then I also a little bit anticipated that in advance because most of the time I play either with my trio or solo. A trio is a small formation. You can put everything in one car, including the equipment, and drive to the gig. Most bands that play here are like quintets. 5 people, you need 2 cars. And if there is a bass player and a drum kit, you need actually 3 cars. So it gets very complicated, especially if you fly your instruments on the plane. They could get broken. So many things can happen. So yeah, being a step ahead is super important. And just be flexible to whatever comes to you.
We are in the ethnographic park, popularly known as the Village Museum. It is a place full of tradition. So is your music. How is this meeting for you?
So far, it's been great. I really enjoy it. It's my first time in Romania also. So for me, just encountering the culture and the people, it's been a very good experience. People are very hospitable, very open. And I'm also really amazed of the amount of people that speak good English. You know, like a lot of times
I'm not one of them.
Yes, you're definitely one of them. I mean, like I speak a few languages. It's not that I think everybody should speak English, but it's so much easier to communicate, especially with the festival crew. You know, like sometimes we go to other countries, people, don't speak English as well. And then the band is completely foreign. We have like 3 different countries in the band, and it's hard to find common ground. And here is so easy and so open. It's really been a fantastic experience. And it's nice to be, of course, a part of something that has so much culture and so much value for the people. We are so close to the museum. There is like this architecture here is like 300, 400 years old. So it's gives an extra value, I think, for the festival because you can enjoy the heritage and not only the modern things that, like the music, I guess, is representing the modern society because jazz is modern, but then you have this ancient surroundings. So the old meets new. It's a little bit like my music. I write new songs in a dead language. It's very fitting to what I do, to be here. So thank you so much for having me.
Great, thank you for being here. What inspires you when you write music?
Very small things. It could be anything, just the sun shining and hitting the leaves in a certain light. And then I think, oh, this could be, how will the birds see this when they're flying above the tree? I will try to find this image. Could I be the bird? Am I looking at the bird from another direction? I would always find ways to think about that. And then, of course, I'm inspired by stories that happen to me and people, my friends that share their own stories with me. Sometimes even people after the show come to me and tell me their own personal story because on the stage I am sharing my experience with my roots, how my grandmother taught me to speak Ladino and what it means to me. So then a lot of people come afterwards and tell me about their own heritage story. It's like, oh, your music made me look for my roots. And I find that amazing because then you really create a dialogue. It's not only a rhetoric speech. A lot of times you're a musician, you're just standing on a stage, people listen to you. but they never answer back, you know. But this opportunity, when you're sharing something about roots, lets the audience react to you as well, and you start a conversation. A lot of people send messages on social media. It's so accessible.
You're very active.
Yeah, I love it, and I love it. So if you want to send me a message, please go ahead. Or come talk to me after the show. I like it.
What gives you the force to be so explosive and wild?
Am I explosive and
Yes,
what?
you are.
It's your words.
No, on the stage? You
On the
are.
stage, I think, well, I may be sounding very philosophical here. I feel like when I am on stage, I am channeling energy that is bigger than me. It's not me. It's just, I am just the tool. I am only the vessel, and something is coming. It's all the same when I write music. It's not that I write the songs from my ego and my perspective. The ideas come to me, and they say, they touch my shoulder, and they say, we want to exist through you, you know? And then I get goosebumps, and then I'm thinking, oh, I need to listen now. And then sometimes I know right away that I have to stop everything that I'm doing and go right. And sometimes like, yeah, maybe I have the melody in my head. Maybe I'll do it later. Like the idea doesn't work with me. There is like, you know, it's like you're going to a party, right? And then somebody comes to talk to you. And it's like, wow, this person is really interesting. I want to talk to them. And somebody's like, oh, I just want to get away. So then you have these ideas and these ideas that come along. And the ones that work really well are the ones that end up on the records. And then on the other hand, you also have ideas that are very stubborn. Like I have now an idea that keeps on visiting me for more than a year now. So now I feel obliged. Like they really want to exist. So now I would have to write that song for sure. I have no idea for a text yet, but I have the complete melody.
What does music generally mean to you?
Music is the ultimate language of freedom. It's just right there. You don't need expression. You don't need words. You don't need to understand each other. It's really a common feeling that you share. It's the most common human, how do you say, denominator, the connector that we have to each other.
How do you relate to the audience on shows?
They're my family. You guys are my family. Thank you so much for coming. You make me happen. So yeah, thank you for that.
How do you feel on stage?
Free.
Free, you said?
Yeah, in my element. Yeah. It's my thing. Yeah.
That's great. Is there a big difference between you on a stage and you on a daily life?
Very much. At home, I hardly speak, and I sit with my cat all day.
Yeah?
Yes.
I have like 5 cats. How many?
Oh, there you go.
They are devils.
Mine is an angel.
No.
She's so sweet.
Are you sure?
Oh, absolutely. She's sometimes very arrogant, but she's a cat. She's supposed to be arrogant. We are the slaves.
You are a very busy artist. How do you manage all the projects you're involved in? Concerts?
I like it, so I make time for it. It's not... I mean, I guess it's a matter of choice. You need... A lot of artists... I sometimes give mentoring for artists, and then they ask me, how come you don't burn out?
Yeah.
I was like, it's because I do it from a place of quiet. If you don't do something from a place of calm, you will burn out. I burned out also in 2012 because I did it from a panicking place. I wanted something, but it didn't happen, and I was running after it. But it's not about that at all. It's about the process. It's about meeting the people from the audience. It's about creating a family. And once you understand that the important things are there already, then you're not panicking anymore. And then you never burn out because you just do it from a place that is mindful, that is present. Yeah. And then you make time for it. If you don't sleep a lot, you'll sleep later, you know. I'll sleep after the tour. It's not that important. Yeah.
Afterlife.
Yeah, exactly. I have a song about that.
Yeah, I know. What makes you happy?
A lot of things. People places, traveling. I love traveling. It's my favorite second favorite activity after music. So combining touring and music is the best way possible. When I was a kid, you know, people ask you, what do you want to do when you grow up? And then my answer was, I want to travel the world with my songs. It was very specific. I did not know that it will happen. I was like 4 or 5 years old. I did not know what it means, but now I know what it means. And I'm very happy that I got there. I think I was wiser then than I am today. I lost some of the wisdom.
Your first Ladino song, Second Skin, I think that's the song. It's about party celebrating life or
death.
death.
It's a song about a retirement ceremony. So actually you decide when you want to retire, to invite your family and friends to sew around you the shroud of the dead. And now it sounds very morbid, but I promise you it's a very cheerful song, because it's not about that. It's about rebirth. Because when you are in that cocoon, let's say, wrapped in the cloth, you're supposed to meditate and think about all the things you want to leave behind and be reborn afterwards. Like when you emerge out of this cocoon, you leave the bad memories, the wrong experiences, your bad traits, personality behind. It goes in the cupboard, and then you start your life from a place that is free of worries and cares. So that's why it's also called a second skin. Una segunda piel means a second skin. So you shed your skin as if you were a snake, and you're reborn into a beautiful life. You're now a new butterfly, the person you always wanted to be, the best version of yourself.
I have a dead party on my shirt.
Ah, okay. We need to exchange T-shirts. I have a T-shirt that says, I love Ladino. It's a conversation starter. People are like, what's Ladino? Do 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 Caminos de leche y miel, deja los celos casa. La mañana se ve el buen
La culpa es asunto de ayer. Con los años tiende el cegel, cosas que van y vienen. Vamos a hacer una segunda piel. La culpa es asunto de ayer. Con los años tiende el cegel, cosas que van y vienen. Tu, tu, tururú, 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 tu, tu, tururú.
Talking about freedom, what does it mean for you to be free as an artist, as a person?
It's everything. If you're not free, you're not able to do anything that is meaningful, not for yourself and not for others. If you love someone from a place that is not free, you are going to completely destroy your relationship, even if it's family, even if it is a romantic relationship, even if it is just a pet, you know, if you need the pet and you won't let it, you know, be who they are. I'm not saying let it go out into the street. I'm saying like let them do what they need to do as their nature. They will not like you. They will scratch you. They will run away. You know, something will happen. And I think you need to embrace life from a place of freedom, because if you try to control life too much, you will end nowhere. It's just not going to work. And this is how, if you relate earlier to the burning out part, this is how you don't burn out, if you try to feel free at every given point. If I could give any advice to any human, is to try to feel free as much as possible. Yeah.
You sing, tell your story. It is about future or past or both?
Both. I mean, I write in a almost extinct language, but when I look into the past, I see the future, because we think we are very new. Wow, I don't know. If you look at the topics, like for instance in the new album, there are poems that I composed music for, that are ancient, from the 11th century, from the 9th century, from the 13th century, and they talk about very relevant things like what we have today. One of the songs is about the transformation of a transgender. Now that's from 800 years ago. We are thinking today we invented this whole they-them thing, but it's not true. It's been there all the time, and history repeats. So we just forgot that we already know this. The collective consciousness somehow let that one slip, and now we're dealing with the same question again. So how advanced are we, really? I don't know. You know, if we have to debate this again. So the history, I'm assuming we are not advanced at all. So then maybe in a few hundred years, we'll debate this again. And then they will maybe find one of these songs and think like, oh, they already talked about it.
Yeah.
So you never know what survives. Now everything is recorded in a way that's an advantage. In the past, the songs, the traditional songs, had survived by the power of elimination. They only were transferred from word of mouth, you know, from person to person. So only the greatest songs survived, only the best melodies. That's why the old songs always sound timeless, because they're the best melody out there. Now everything is recorded. If it's bad, if it's good, everything is documented. So what is the value, actually, of us preserving everything? That's also a question. I don't know what is right and what is wrong. I just go with whatever attracts me and I find right for me and my surroundings. And I always choose something that is positive, because I don't believe in negative energy. If you do something from a negative place, you'll also get negativity in your life. If you spread the word about good, then there will be more good. Yeah.
It was very interesting for me to find that story with sex changing, and it was about a family with so many daughters, and the father wants a son. Yes. How do you find that?
When I started researching text for my Ladino album, at the beginning, I did not know how to write in Ladino. So I was looking for existing poems or ballads to compose music for. And then I went to Leiden. There's a Jewish Sephardic library there. In this biggest community in the Netherlands that speak Ladino, only 40 people. So I learned there from the rabbi, and then he showed me the library, and then all the texts were only religious texts. And I'm not a religious person, so I asked him, do you mind showing me some secular texts? And then he took me to some back room, you know, and he showed me this really old, crappy book, you know, it looked like nothing. And then there was this poem about this transgender girl. And I was like amazed, like this is the most, I've been to this library for 6 hours, I haven't found anything yet, and now you show me this. So then the hidden gem, I did not know about the existence of this poem or the people who wrote it or anything. And then I was struck. This father who curses the mother's womb for not birthing him any sons, only 7 daughters, as if this is not enough. She gave 7 children. This is huge, you know. And then you know, they try to beg, please, please, please let us live for who we are, accept us. And then one daughter steps up and she says, well, I always felt like I was a boy. I will be the son you never had. And then the father tried to kick her out of the house. The mother, of course, doesn't accept, and she says, no, you go. She kicks him out of the house, which is really cool also, like from, you know, female emancipation in the Middle Ages. You don't expect that the woman would kick the father out of the house. And she stands up for her daughter, and at the end, the last closing stanza of the poem is, you are my son. I accept you as my son. You have the making of a man. And this is, I had chills on my spine when I read this. I was like, yes, this is going to be a song, you know, right away. I knew it.
Your album, Ke Haber, means what's new.
Yeah.
What's new? And tell us a little bit about the mixture of old and new in your songs.
So some of the texts in the album are texts that I wrote myself. Some of the texts are ancient, so like these middle-aged songs, like what I said before. There's the one about a transgender. There is one text from a Jewish saint, like this famous rabbi, Shmuel Anagid, which on the side wrote homoerotic poetry. Very interesting. And when I published that song, I got a lot of backlash from the Jewish community saying, like, are you outing the saint, you know? It's like, well, no, he outed himself 900 years ago. He has a whole book of homoerotic poetry. There is a song about a king and a queen. This is actually inspired by a story that my grandmother used to tell me when I was a child. Actually, I don't know if we have anybody here who is 50 years married. 40, 30? Okay, there you go. This one is for you. So this is a king and a queen waking up in the morning of their 50th anniversary, and they reminisce about old times, all the good experiences and what they were able to create together for all this time. And it's a true love song. And this is also a text from the 9th century that I composed music for. And the rest is, again, texts that I wrote myself, music that I wrote myself. There are also 2 covers in the album. One is Gracias a la Vida. It's a Violeta Parra song from Chile. And one is a mashup of Sting's Shape of My Heart and a song that I wrote myself called Mi Corazón, which means my heart. Both songs talk about luck and what is the fleeting presence and courtesy of luck in our life, and why are we so drawn to something that is magical and unknown to us. So that's why they work well together. And that song is inspired by my grandmother. When I was a child, well, she believed in all these superstitions and everything, and every time I came to visit her house, she gave me a bracelet that was supposed to protect me for bad luck, you know. And because of after writing the song, I realized how that experience was so important to me. So I recreated these bracelets, and now I have like a bunch of them. Yeah, they're also here. So like this is like a little piece of her that is I still carry with me everywhere.
The biggest Ladino speaking community is in Turkey.
Yeah.
Do you have some songs in children's songs in Turkish?
He knows. I have the first song on the album is Çok Seni Severim, which is a mashup between a traditional Turkish song, I love you much too much, so I hate you a little bit as well, and a traditional Ladino children's song that is like a little bit of a mean song. Well, actually, a very mean song, because it starts with this beautiful utopia. Everybody's like children and animal dancing around in a circle, jumping, having fun. And then it was all a distraction, and all the animals are getting cooked in a pan. It's terrible. But the songs fit each other very well. And also the notion, hate and maybe, lurking and hunting. So to demonstrate that the biggest community is in Turkey, not a lot of people know that. So I wanted to open the album with that, so people will be mindful about, thinking about Turkey. And then people are asking me, why do you start with Turkish? It's a Ladino song, It's a Ladino album. It's like, yeah, but maybe you can make people think, because I made you ask this question, and now you know why it's there, and now you know about the community in Turkey too. So yeah.
What is your opinion on artificial intelligence? Is a partner or a danger for an artist?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I mean, first of all, I don't know a lot about it, and I don't have a lot of experience with it. But with the time, people always found danger in development. Like if you look, when
Computers or
yeah, well, even when the tape recorder was created, right? When they started to record music, they said nobody will go to the shows anymore. But actually, what happened? That it made music more famous, and then you had things like Woodstock for the first time with 500,000 people, thanks to the recorded media. Then the vinyl died, and the CD came, and it's like, oh, there will be no vinyl. I'm selling vinyl right now. I mean, what
then
is...
the video killed the radio star.
Exactly. And there's always something to be afraid of. Also, when MIDI came out, when you could synthesize the sound of instruments, people thought nobody will hire studio musicians anymore because you can just make that sound yourself. But it's not true, because when you need the human experience, you need the extra finesse to the sound. It's not only about computer work. So I don't think there is real danger. Maybe you have to develop a new way. Maybe you have to be creative. Maybe a limitation would actually give birth to something even more amazing. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I don't know everything.
You have
I
to.
don't know anything.
You have to, because you're a professor at the London Performing Academy of Music and the Jerusalem Music Academy. How hard is to teach music? What can you transmit?
It's
to
impossible. No, I'm
students?
kidding. No, it's very important to teach music. I know from the point of view of a student, not from the point of view of a teacher, because you look for a way, and if you have a good role model, it will change your life. There are definitely 3 big teachers in my life that changed my life from one end to the other. On the other hand, there have been many terrible teachers that almost made me stop playing music.
Wow.
But you don't always have to. I don't think that we should listen to negativity. If you really want something, just go and get it. In a positive way, not in a violent way, not in a forceful way. Never try to force anything. But if you can get there in a good way, there is no reason why you shouldn't do it. And even if people tell you that you should quit, it's probably their ego talking. Maybe they think that they should quit, and they just project it on you. And there is no reason to believe that.
I quote you. What I like about writing in Ladino is that when I look at the past, I see the future. Is it murder, as Mr. Leonard Cohen said?
Leonard Cohen is a cool guy. I mean, I love the fact that he released this album, and he, You Want It Darker, and then he said to God, I'm ready, take me, I'm done with this life. I think it takes a lot of courage to do. But you also have to be ready, right? So I don't like the use of the word martyr, and also the general energy of the martyr is not useful in life because you feel like the victim. And so the victimizing role is not going to get you anywhere. If you are going to be the jester, the clown, the player, the comedian, the person who sits in the back of the room and say, these guys are funny. So this is the person that will endure more in life and will be more, not only successful, but also more content. It's important to be happy, like people talk about success, they talk about money, they talk about goals. I want this and I want that. But how many people say, I want to be happy? Not a lot of people. And I think happiness is a state of mind. It's not the goal that you achieve and now I'm happy and tomorrow I won't be happy. But if you practice happiness, it's like a meditation, like a daily thing that you should just do and think about the good things that are happening in your life. And then if you come from this place, not the place of the martyr, the place of the jester, I think you will have a better life. You and your family and your friends. And you'll probably be also more successful or endure a crisis moment in a better way.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
For me too. Looking forward to the concert.
Thank you. Mulțumesc.
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 Köszönöm
Thank you.
szépen.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Seni severim, çok seni severim. Ben seni severim, çok seni severim. Ben seni severim, çok seni severim. Ben seni severim, çok seni severim. Siveria jararana, sentanda en la hornalla. Siveria jararana, sentanda en la hornalla. Friendo sus nueces y casas partiendo a sus hermanicas, friendo sus nueces y casas partiendo a sus hermanicas. Ben seni severim, çok seni severim. 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 Siveria jarara, tonas sentando en el cantón. Siveria jarara, tonas sentando en el cantón. Friendo sus buenas fritas, espartiendo a sus hermanicas. Friendo sus buenas fritas, espartiendo a sus hermanicas. Ben seni severim, çok seni severim. 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 Çok seni severim,